Hello, and thank you for watching the Sailing My Magic channel. My name is Duke, and I am sailing my 2015 Lagoon Catamaran around the world. Today is the day that I start transiting the Panama Canal. Maybe the rainy season just arrived early. Usually the rainy season here starts in April. This is March 25th. I had to put the front hatches in what I call the rain position. That's so they're open just about a quarter or eighth of an inch at the bottom. Just go in those notches rather than all the way locked back. I pulled the drain on the dinghy so that it doesn't fill up with water while it's sitting here. The solar cells actually keep a lot of the water out, but you'd be surprised how much can get in there. This is my typical breakfast when sailing. Oatmeal with protein powder added instead of milk. Coffee with milk added. I get 2% milk. And I do a drip filter type of coffee. One friend said it looks like a flower pot. Rain at dawn. A rainbow over the wreck. I have to provide protection for my solar cells when they're throwing the weighted lines from up on the shore to here so they can haul up the long heavy lines. At the end of the line they throw is a monkey's fist. It's a round knot with a weight in it. So protecting the solar cells is important. This is what I've come up with. I'm using the mattresses from my forward berths. I've got 4 of these mattresses, and I will arrange them. My solar cell, the big panel, is 9 feet by 6 feet. So these should cover it just about exactly. Then I'll use ratchet tie downs to secure the mattresses to the top of the solar cells, and my boat hook to get the end of the S hook past the solar cells so it can't damage anything. And this is how I'm keeping the mattresses in place with tie-down straps. Final result, 4 mattresses on top of the solar cells. I put my bug-out bag in the compartment with my portable generator so it's accessible from the cockpit. The agent, Eric, arranged for the balloon fenders to be dropped off at the marina, and then I had to fit them all into my dinghy and use my dinghy to get them over to my catamaran. These fenders are very large, and there's also 4 real long 125-foot lines that go too. You're required to have 4 line handlers on board. They don't have to be professional line handlers, but you also have to have an advisor or guide. They call them pilots, they're not really a pilot. They do use pilots on the big boat. And then you go across the bay, and here's the bridge that is at the beginning of the Panama Canal. And by the time we got everything tied together, it was nighttime, and there's a big arrow there in the entrance, just like it's a bar or something, showing you to go in. So we're tied together with another catamaran. There was originally supposed to be 15 boats going through at the same time, 5 rafts of 3 boats tied together, but one dropped out, so it ended up just being myself tied to another catamaran. So this is the first lock. The lock gates are closing, and this is a Chamberlain catamaran. I hadn't heard of those before, but they're made in Australia, I believe, and only 20 of them were made. These are massive, massive gates to this. It does take them a while to close, but at least you know they're going to hold. It's amazing that they did this so long ago and everything's still functioning. In fact, they've added another part to the Panama Canal. What was happening is some of the big commercial ships were too big to go through the canal anymore, so the canal part is only at the beginning and the end of the Panama Canal. In the middle is a lake. So they added another Panama Canal set of locks for the bigger boats, and here they are filling up the first set of locks. A flood of water coming in, so it has to raise approximately 30 feet for each of the 3 locks at the beginning. See, and there the line handlers have to adjust the tension. So now one of my mattresses blew off. It was retrieved. Fortunately, it was covered with enough plastic it hardly got wet at all. Now you notice when you're going from the first lock to the second lock, it has to raise up that 30 feet so it can flood the next section and raise the boats again. And then you get in there and you get tied off at the right location. Then you get into the third lock, and again you go in, you tie up, the line handlers hold it, and they flood the center of the lock. And then by then it's very late at night. Once you get beyond the locks, there's no light to speak of. You just see some commercial ships going by you. I had to navigate in the dark, following the markers until we finally got to a mooring buoy, which is actually a mooring buoy for a big commercial ship. But the other catamaran and I tied to this one. It's not really made for little boats, but at least it's covered with rubber on the side, so it's a little bit protected. We all went to bed, and bang! Bang! The whole boat lurched and shook. We had been struck by something. I grabbed a flashlight and ran outside. Oh my, the neighbor's boat had worked its way loose from the mooring and swung around forward to hit our boat on the front. Also, the mooring ball was rotated. It made the mooring lines come loose. I had spring lines, but they didn't. But when it rotated, it loosened my spring lines. So all 8 line handlers and 2 captains were out there at 1 a.m. in the morning working to get the boats retied so they wouldn't have any impact, and praying that there was no damage. When I got everything retied and had a look, I didn't see any damage there. I would look again in the morning, but thank God, no damage. The canal has 3 locks at the beginning, is raised 85 feet high, and cuts through a mountain, and then goes through 3 locks down to the Pacific Ocean. It's amazing, one of the wonders of the world. So the next day we were finally in the middle of the lake and following a twisted path. And now it's time to join us for the sailors' tradition of sundowners.